dinosaur with a corncob pipe and a button nose and 2 eyes made out of coal.
Well, good evening, Sumter School District, and welcome to a special edition of Reading with the Superintendent. As we promised, we'll come to you each night during the winter break to ensure that we're interacting with you and engaging in reading. And every time we come, we'll come with a different book and a special guest. And tonight I have with us the one, the only Miss Jennifer Miller. Hi, Miss Miller, how are you?
Good evening, Dr. Martin-Knox. I'm great.
Thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
Why don't you share with our viewers, I know you've been on here with me one time before, it's been a while, but why don't you share with our viewers a little bit about you?
Oh, a little bit about me. I'm here to read, but normally I'm working with numbers. I serve as the Chief Financial Officer here at Sumter School District.
Well, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for ensuring that our children have the materials and the resources that they need and that we are able to continue to move our district forward. Just thank you.
You're welcome.
So tonight, you've picked a book called Snowman Magic.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what it's called, Snowman? Have you ever built a snowman?
Absolutely.
That's right, because you're from New York, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what's the deepest degree of snow that you've been involved and interact with?
I have no idea. I was a little girl and I just remember those snowbanks being taller than me.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about this Magic Snowman or Snowman Magic to see what happens. And this is by Catherine Teagan and Brandon Dorman. So before we begin, I need to make sure that everybody is focused so that they can enjoy this reading that we're about to engage in. So 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me.
1, 2, all eyes on you.
Let's begin to read Snowman Magic. Ready? It had been snowing all day. Snowing. George was bored. There was no school, so he needed something to do. He kept looking out the window. Would it ever stop? What did you used to do, Miss Miller, when it snowed when you were younger?
Absolutely. I would build snowmen.
What was the biggest snowman you've ever built?
Well, it's hard to do if you're short, so they're usually not too tall. The next morning, the sun was shining. When George looked out the window, everything was brilliant white. The snow was so bright, it was almost hard to look at. If he squinted, he could see it was very deep, and it had drifted high against the slope in his backyard.
I remember one time it snowed and I went to open my storm door and it wouldn't open because the snow had accumulated halfway up the door.
I remember a time that the door blew open and we had snow in the house.
Did it last long?
No,
Okay. George put on his warm socks, his snow pants, and his flannel shirt. Then he put on his snow jacket, his boots, his mitten, and his hat. His mittens and his hat. He was ready. Is he ready?
I think he's ready.
I think he's ready too.
Outside, the air smelled clean and cold. George plunged into the snow. It was fluffy, but crunchy too. He made a snowball and threw it against a tree. It was so very quiet.
Have you walked through snow and you can hear it crunch?
It's my favorite thing to do, walk through a woods and hear the snow under your boots.
Here we go. George looks like he's having fun here. George took some snow and packed it into a small ball. Then he started rolling the ball in the snow. The ball got bigger and bigger. When the ball got too heavy to roll, he stopped rolling it near the bottom of the slope. Then he started rolling a medium-sized ball. He put it on top of the big ball. Finally, he made a small ball for the top. So what do you think the difference in the sizes of the balls means, Ms. Miller?
I think it makes it so he can stack them on each other.
Think you're right. Like body parts?
Yes, ma'am. Let's see. George went inside the house and found a scarf in the closet, a carrot in the refrigerator. In the old days, his mother told him people used to take pieces of coal and use them to make eyes. But there wasn't any coal in George's house. So he found 2 buttons and brought them outside with the scarf and carrot.
Do you wear scarves?
No, it's not cold enough to wear a scarf.
He carefully pushed the buttons into the small ball near the top. He stuck the carrot in the center. He found a few small twigs and used them to make a mouth. He wrapped the scarf between the top ball and the middle ball, and he found 2 branches to stick into the sides of the middle ball. It was a perfect snowman. George turned his head. He thought he saw the snowman smiling at him. Could it be? You think the snowman smiled?
I don't know, but maybe because it's called Snowman Magic.
I thought he winked at me, quite frankly.
Time for a snack, said George. He went inside the house and got 2 mugs of hot chocolate and some cookies. He put them on the snow table. Would you like something to eat? George asked. I can't drink hot chocolate, the snowman said, but a cookie would be nice.
Well, why can't he drink hot chocolate?
I think he might melt.
You think? Do you like hot chocolate?
I love it.
Okay. After their snack, George made a cave, tunneling deep into the slope. He piled up snowballs at the entrance, then he threw a couple at the snowman. The snowman made some snowballs and threw them back at George. His long branch arms helped him throw the snowballs very far. It was hard to say who won the fight, but it was still fun. Have you ever been in a snowball fight, Ms. Miller?
Yes, ma'am, I have an older brother. Of course we had snowball fights. The snowman chased George around the yard. Then George chased the snowman. The snowman couldn't move that fast, so it was easy for George to sneak up on him.
I'm trying to figure out how the snowman's moving.
That's magic.
It's magic. Is it in the scarf? Is it
Could
in the
be.
twigs?
The button?
Is it in the nose? It was starting to get dark. George didn't want to go inside, but his mother was calling him. Goodbye, snowman, he said. I will see you tomorrow. George thought he heard the snowman say good night. I don't know. Is that magic too, where the snowman said good night?
I think so, if he's talking.
I think he winked at me again.
Oh. The next day, it was warmer. The sun was even brighter, and the snowman was shrinking. George played with him all day, but he could tell that the snowman didn't quite have the same energy.
What do you think is happening?
Well, it's getting warmer, and I think snowmen like it when it's really cold.
So, does that make me a snowman? I like it. Then it was Monday. George had to go to school. It was another bright, warm day. When he came home, the snowman was almost gone. The scarf and the carrot and the buttons had slid down. He could hardly recognize his snowman. The cave had collapsed too, and the snow table had melted. I think George is sad.
I would be sad too.
Because his friend melted.
The next morning, George looked out the window. It was snowing, 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 and snowing. He couldn't wait.
Snowing again, huh? He couldn't wait to build his snowman again. Wow. Miss Miller, what do you think the moral of this story may be?
That sometimes when things go away, they may come back the very next day.
They could. And I think in my mind is if you're creative and you did it once, and you do it again and again, and it gets better each time you do it. I think so. But this made me chilly too, so maybe I need to have a scarf and mittens and a hat. So Ms. Miller, thank you. Thank you for reading to our viewers. And thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I want to say to you and yours, have a very happy holiday and a happy new year. And I want to make sure that our viewers have a happy holiday and a very happy new year. We will see you all soon. Thank you for joining us and have fun while you're on your winter break. Good night, everybody. Good night, Ms. Miller. Thank you for joining me.
Nose and to eyes made out of coal. Oh, Steve the snowman is a fairy tale, they say. He was made of snow, but the children know how it came to life one day.